Welcome to Engineers Beyond Engineering, a podcast by the Alumni Relations Cell of Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. In this series, we bring you stories of Thapar alumni who have gone beyond boundaries of traditional engineering and to create an impact in diverse fields. My name is Agami Garg, and join me as we uncover journeys of ambitious resilience and transformation. Today, we have with us Mr. Anirudh Kaul, a Thabar alumnus and recognized leader in AI/ML, whose innovative work in machine learning and computer vision is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in tech. From the classroom of Thapar to working at Microsoft, the UN, and beyond, did you even imagine this journey when you were a student here at Thapar?
I was too self-centered towards like the short-term goals at that time. So while I was at Thapar, it was about exploring my area, which was computer science, and what could be done. So solving puzzles like making an algorithm for prime numbers, solving that for magic squares, and just making like small little increments in finding what's curiously doable and just getting slightly better every day. I think that was what I was most concerned about that time. And I think, when you push the needle a little bit every single day, I think it paves your long-term story of your career. A lot of things that I defined my career started here, from programming contests to hackathons, which essentially made my defined 95% of the work I've done in my career. So I think those things started here, and I think luck played a big role in polishing the story to where I am.
That's great to hear. When and how did you realize that your interest lies in artificial intelligence and ML, like especially when it wasn't a mainstream at that time? I suppose, like being a computer science undergraduate, it must be a field where you must be very scared to step into.
There's nothing scary because I didn't know much about it. So this is 2003 when I started my number. And it was always a curiosity if machines could think on their own, or at least pretend to think on their own. So step by step, I started building things which had no machine learning but pretended to be, making basic patterns that can be learned on its own. I remember this was 2003 or 2004, where I built a program which will take your Yahoo Mail or Gmail inbox and actually create your family tree
Oh,
just by reading your emails and understanding who's your uncle, who's your aunt, is this male, is this female, and like those curious things. I know there's no value commercially for those, but just the curiosity of that can be built, I think is how the journey started. But eventually, then you find a real use case, and my use case was trying to figure out if people are using peer-to-peer programs to download things, and I wanted to predict like, is this from a peer-to-peer or is this normal download? So that's where I had to apply machine learning. One of the dreams here was if I could build a program which could ask and answer questions. So that was like the one curious thing, if it can read a library of books and be able to answer. This is 2003, 2004, so I have low expectations. But imagine in 2010, when I eventually gave admission at Carnegie Mellon, and my advisor was the person who created IBM Watson.
oh,
So luck played a big role, but I think it was building those kind of programs which could do question answering over the years. Is like this just matches exactly the place I eventually wanted. And since then, I think the field works really fast. The field has moved just at a tremendous pace. Every day we feel like we are out of field of fear, like FOMO, essentially. And I would say, I think that FOMO has kept that sense of urgency that, hey, get to learn what's happening in this field and keep yourself updated. So that has helped in, building some useful programs for people, building some manuals, like writing books in this particular area, not books, and just I think kept the excitement alive to be working every single day in this field.
That's great to hear. What was the biggest roadblock and how did you push through it in your journey?
So I used to work at Microsoft, and I tell people I usually always have had two jobs. One job is what I'm supposed to do today officially, which I'm getting paid for, and my evening job would be what I want to do next. Try to prototype it, build some version of it. So often, what I would do is I would gather a team of people, go to a hackathon, build something in like 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, and then I would try to pitch that to people on why this should be funded. Right? So I'm a foot soldier in a company of 100,000 plus people who's trying to get a meeting with an executive vice president on why they should be funding it. So over and over again, it was like, why should this be funded? Who is this? This person is not even from our own division or business. So it was the story of trying to get something funded, just like you would do with a startup, except you're working in a company. So eventually you realize that you can develop a skill or some tactics to get a yes even if you don't have authority. Get people to work in an area even though you don't have a leadership area there. So a lot of projects that came out were actually projects which initially got a no. Today Microsoft released an article on the 15 biggest AI breakthroughs.
Yeah, I did.
And I distinctly remember during award winner once saying, this would not happen in 20 years. And that's exactly the project that my team worked on called Seeing AI, which is probably the most used app in the blind community right now. A breakthrough in computer vision, but it took a year plus of effort to get funded. In a very similar way, many other projects, things that run all the way from HoloLens to Microsoft Teams, used to take quite a bit of pressure, but eventually you realize that if you can showcase a great business plan and why this would make sense, and it doesn't always have to be money related, but it should be about some value that the company derives, you can get that pass ahead. So in my new role at Pinterest, where I have been working for the last 5 years now, I actually encourage and give those opportunities to employees who have these great ideas to have an easier pipeline from coming up with the idea to actually getting it into a funded production pipeline.
That's a great story. So I would like to ask you, like, what does mentoring mean to you, and how do you think mentorship shapes student both academically and personally? Like, how did it help you, and how do you think mentorship helps students further grow?
I think the single biggest return on investment one can get in their life is getting a coach, a mentor to get that shortcut. People who are competing in Olympics are probably at the top of the game, can teach anybody, but even they get a coach because they want to be accountable and they want to find their unknown unknowns, which is what we all have. We have our known knowns, our known unknowns. I know I don't know this area, but I know at least what I don't know. And then comes the worst one, which is the unknown unknowns. Having someone to give you that feedback, that push towards learning all these areas, where to improve, but where practically to improve, is quite valuable. You can pick up a book, let's say on artificial intelligence, a 600-page book, and going through from start to end is one way. Whereas someone can tell you, you know what, there's like this thing, which is usually used in industry 90% of the times, if you master this, I think you'll go successful. So I found mentorship can be valuable in that aspect. I think in my journey, could have used more. And I was trying to search in my own ways. I was doing things myself, but eventually, over time, I realized actually finding people, not one but multiple mentors, to give you that feedback can be helpful. So now, as a return, that's what I do, which is like if someone needs some guidance, give them, like, I'll give you 1 hour of my time, make use of it. I'll give you frank feedback. It's up to you and your motivation if you want to use that. And I've seen some really outstanding results that I would not have expected, of people who are just hungry to do things, getting just a little bit of that right advice and making huge changes. I met actually two English teachers. I've never coded in their life. Was giving a lecture on climate change, and 100 days from that day, they picked up coding, started doing some machine learning, and 100 days from there, they had beaten a NASA paper in 100 days. Considering 100 days back, they didn't know coding. Okay. That's the power of motivation with some precise surgical guidance on what to do. And I think everybody should, as a student, use that. One other thing is, you have academics, those are great, but then how does that whole thing combine into where you're going towards 5 years from today? I think someone externally can give a pretty good perspective.
Agreed. I also heard that you were in a recent Everest expedition, if I'm not wrong, and like I just wanted to know, like, how and when did you like start, trekking, and how are you so motivated to to climb the Mount Everest?
This I didn't have the right place. I like to do it professionally. So I've done absolutely zero exercise till I was age 25. I was a big guy. I saw a documentary on Everest, then looked at me, and you don't need to be like Everest level, but you don't need to be like completely on the couch. So I got off the couch and lost 90 pounds exercising, and then eventually started participating in endurance sports like bicycling 300 plus kilometers, running 200 kilometers non-stop. And then around during the COVID times when everybody was inside, I just started going hiking, and then started hiking with weights. And I was turning 35, so I said, what would be kind of cool? The height from Everest base camp to Mount Everest is 3,500 meters. So for age 35, why don't I do 3,500 meters? I tried to train for that. Try climb a mountain. 3,500 elevation gain by climbing the mountain, coming down, climbing the mountain, coming down. It didn't happen. That year I got injured. And then I was turning 37. I realized I didn't actually do what I promised myself. So what would be cool? Like just 3,700 meters. So I trained that year and then went to a mountain at 10,000 feet, climbed it up, took a gondola down, climbed it up again, gondola down, and kept doing it for 27 hours. By the time which I had already climbed 9 kilometers vertically. So that gave me a sense that if this is doable with some proper training and discipline, how about maybe the real thing could be done? I did this thing again last year. I was 6th out of 300 people in that sport called Everesting. So this year I basically trained for these last 5 years to go to the Everest expedition. It started well. We did some training. We hiked up to Everest base camp. Then we started doing rotations where you basically try to acclimatize your body to lower and lower oxygen. At that point, I think the oxygen is already less than 50% of the sea level. And we are also exercising really heavily. So our team went up one night We started at midnight and basically just using ladders and ropes. They're basically climbing through the Kumbu ice fall, which is the most dangerous portion of Everest. In the middle, you have these breaks called seracs, which are 10 stories tall that you can follow. So we somehow navigated. It took 30 hours, and every single carbohydrate molecule in my body to get to the base, to the camp number one. We got there all exhausted. Then wind started, and 4 of the 8 tents we had blew away. Then while coming down, turns out some of the ice sections had actually fallen down, mini avalanches. So the route had been broken. So the team had quite some issues there. Along the way, I developed some chest pain, and you don't want to take chances when you're at that altitude because anything could happen. So I decided it's better to get it checked. Took a helicopter down to Kathmandu. They checked things are gonna be fine with some month-long rest. But I think that I will say I think I've done some hard things physically before. This was 10 times harder than anything I have done previously, and I highly recommend people to get through this excitement. The theme I have seen from all the people that I met there was actually people don't complain. Like you get used to being uncomfortable and still smile. And the dedication many of these people had shown was impressive. We had an Olympian, world record holder in our team. We had a firefighter who walks around with 35 kg suit every single day. We had people who had climbed 4 to 5 of the tallest mountains, top 7 in the world. 3 out of the 6 had left their jobs to go climb that. So I think the story I came out with is just how inspiring these people are and how much dedication they have shown years over years over years to follow their dream. And they're still up on the mountains. I'm wishing them the best.
I'm definitely taking some trekking tips from you.
Absolutely.
So I came across that you authored a book. Did you anticipate that your book would be available in multiple languages, 6 to be exact, including Japanese?
Not while writing. I think while writing the book, the main goal was I found technical books often to be very dry.
They are.
Could that be slightly more fun to read? Could it be more accessible, and could it be more practical? So instead of just pure theory, how would someone, if you're working at Google or Microsoft or Facebook, do the exact same things but for a couple of billion users? So the book was basically structured as it would start with a fake fiction story of something happening in a random place. Then comes the meat of the book, and then finally the end is that story that you're reading was a real company, and how there's a story about Simpsons at the start, turns out it's a real story about New York Times at the end, and so this was quite fun to write. And the book actually started from basic deep learning, computer vision to robots, and eventually ends with if you've read everything till here, you can apply this on a Formula One car. So a group of students actually took that and built that AI on a Formula One car, raced it on a real track, and ended up winning against Volkswagen and ended up on podium rank number 2 in their first race.
Wow.
So quite exciting to see the impact. The founder of GoFundMe read that book and started his new AI company, which is doing amazing. So I think hearing the stories of readers of what they are actually doing with the book, I think it has been cited in many people's PhDs, in many research papers, has been quite helpful to learn their stories. And then eventually it started getting translated with its reception into traditional Chinese, simple Chinese, Russian, Korean, Japanese, and I'm sure, English obviously, that was the first one, So I'm excited to see all the readers will get to see it.
I've started reading it. I definitely love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've also heard that you are a alumnus of Harvard. So what was the experience like being the fastest graduating alumnus from Harvard? And do you have any advice for those who plan to take on a similar journey? Like I want to, so
Yeah, it was the graduating part was actually. I think during everyone's journey, they realize there are things that they need to strengthen further. For me, it was like learning more about management and managing larger teams, and I wanted to understand that better. So for that, I went to Harvard Business School, and the side note was I had also to train for the Everest trip. So these two things were clashing with each other. So while I was studying there, luckily you have to write a case study about your own life. Of something. So you study these case studies. At Harvard Business School, they don't teach you any books. They give you these case studies that you have to read and then come to class and debate. So it's a very Socratic method of debating and learning from each other. Because there are people in your class who know so well that they can teach you, and then someone else will completely say your point is wrong. So you learn from that. And then you have to write your own case study. So my case study was on GenAI and why I want to advance it. On that topic, I actually changed my jobs, my role within my own company to do more. And the work we had to do was actually just propose how we solve it. I ended up not just solving, but like actually putting it in action while I was studying there. So I kind of got done with what I really wanted to achieve there a little earlier. And then I just kept taking courses till one day a professor came, asked me for dinner. I met him. I said, hey, here's your degree, get out of here. So it got done in 7 months, 22 days. And it turns out that there were 3 students so far out of like thousands who had finished it in that record time. So that was a cherry on top.
wow, that's amazing. Also, right now, like a person like me who's like wanting to explore more in deep space, I would like to I hear about your recent tenure at NASA. Like you're still a lead faculty there, right? 8 years and ongoing. So I'd like to hear more about it. Like what's happening there? How is it? Like the experience?
Right. So NASA started effort called Frontier Development Labs, which is now a separate entity where the whole idea was, can we apply artificial intelligence to moonshot problems that NASA has? And now over time, other teams like NOAA, European Space Agencies, and all have started like, hey, we want a piece of the pie to solve real problems. So in that, people, researchers, externally would come participate, then some people would join as a faculty, and in about, say, about 8 to 12 weeks, try to solve that moonshot problem. So I've been giving talks there, and there's a moonshot problem about being able to search for patterns in, let's say, wildfire or smoke patterns just from 22 years worth of satellite imagery. So that seemed to be a meaningful problem. So I worked with a team initially to make some learnings to discover it's a little harder than
You
we
think so?
anticipated. So my proposal was I'll actually get volunteers from internet and I'll train them. They don't need to do any AI. I'll train them from complete scratch. We'll build a curriculum from them, and we'll then get them to participate in this program. And if they do well, then they get to present to NASA scientists. So I wanted to create a program that could be a good poster child for how innovation can happen by having random strangers from the internet using open source community. We call that Space ML. So that was the proposal. So I actually got, ironically, everybody was a school school student, and not a PhD, not a master, not an undergrad. We got them together, gave them that education program, and again the same offer. I'll give you 1 hour of my time. Tell me why we should meet next. So I gave them like, if you can follow through this, by this time we should meet. Most of them smashed that time because they're so motivated to get in, learn the things. So then we put them on a real chart with real mentors to work through the program. And that's one of the places where I mentioned an English teacher knew no coding 100 days from that we presented in NASA. That English teacher is now teaching data science. Obviously,
Oh, wow.
we got another English teacher. Now she's the Gen AI tech lead at a major company. Most of those students are now working at Facebook, Microsoft, Google, and all those places. But the cool thing was that code that we were able to prove, we were able to show that you can search in seconds over satellite images with the patterns needed. And the impressive part that came out was, turns out that could also be used not for satellite images, but for all the galaxies. So folks working with the Hubble Space Telescope are using it. I heard that someone started using it for finding cancer in astronauts' blood.
Oh.
So the whole point being, you build something, make it good quality, put it on GitHub, showcase it at places, and you don't know how people will end up using it. The other learning is make things easy. So making things easy means, you don't need to know AI if you use this package. It's one line of command. So most people took away that as long as they can use one line of command on their computer, it solves the job. And that's how it started proliferating. It was also used on the Voyager mission.
The Voyager 1 and 2.
Yeah. So people who know what they know, they're using it in great ways.
That's amazing story. Like being like a space enthusiast of it. It's interesting to hear these stories, especially from an alumni like you. Like I'm always up for it.
Opportunities are all there, just reaching out.
Sure. So in 2025, how should students approach AIML? Like especially beginners, like who don't know anything, like they're just getting into the field. Mostly the college students, they're coming from high school. You know about India's status, the education system. It all starts from rote learning and all. They don't value extracurricular too much. So when we enter college, there's so many students competing ek saath, and it's too much. So what advice do you want those students to give?
So there is a proper way of learning, and then there is a practical way of learning. Proper way of learning is you go to first year, do your courses, then go to second year, do your courses, then third year, and then fourth year you get an elective course. You do that. It's just time lost.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas I think people need to be people need to start exploring what's out there, building the vocabulary of, this is a development happening, that's a development happening. Maybe I can try this package, that package. I just be just generally aware of what's happening, which makes you feel how lost you are in this world of such fast developments. I mean, I'm lost and I work in this area, so imagine someone who's just starting out, right? The second thing I've found is building small projects is really crucially helpful. And you don't even have coding projects. You can go to this website called nocodemba.com, no code MBA literally, and they have like an AI course work on build a poem generator and image generator to do blah, right? But you start doing that and say, you know what I can do? I can build a scanner app for receipts, right? I mean, it's 3 API calls, but now you start thinking how I can do that. You go to a hackathon, you're not going to code the whole thing. You're going to use tools, libraries to build that. You start going to hackathons, building something creative out of that. I wanted to build I mean, I actually want to, in the next few weeks, we'll build a Wordle solver. You know, Wordle,
Wordle, yeah.
crossword solvers,
Mm.
just as a way to force myself to learn some of the basics that I might have forgotten. So I usually keep myself excited by building something which is completely fun. I remember 2015, I had built this app for myself where, you know, when you get a phone call and you have to spell your name
Yeah.
and you say A for apple, B for.
Mhm.
But if like someone from a internet company was calling or like a phone company was calling,
Mhm.
so I would say D for disconnected, R for reception is bad. So it would actually generate the lingo which will be negative or positive depending on the topic area I'm talking about.
Person you're talking with.
I'm sure with LLMs I can do that in a much better way. But I think just building some of those small apps is motivating, and then you start feeling like, you know, I can do slightly better. I can slightly go dig deeper, step by step. So key point being start small, smart with fun projects which can be done in a day, and then it gives you the inclination to go deeper. I think reading from start on how these transformer networks work from start, I think by the last page you reach at, you'll already be asleep and have lost the inclination to do. Whereas if you start with a project, it's so practical. The second point being is your resume has to have showcase projects. I tell people that we're trying to solve two problems when you're looking for a job. One is to solve the interview. The second is how do you get that interview call? To get that call, you need to have something that stands you out, and usually it is something showcase. Some project that you build which just tells the interviewer like, wow, this doesn't sound like a database management system for a library. I'm just coming up with this example. But it would be more exciting than that.
Yeah.
Right? So I think something exciting definitely makes things jump out. Which is exactly why I'm here, because I was working on projects I actually thought were fun, which have no commercial value, but they paid off in the long run.
They absolutely did. So I'm gonna ask you a very philosophical question. Don't mind me. Okay, so let's suppose that you start your career in 2025 from scratch. So what would be the things you would do differently, or maybe the same? Like, would you have the same approach? Would you go to the same schools, or would you be like, no, I'll like do something else?
Am I allowed to say I won't go to university?
Yeah, you are.
I think the first thing I would have done would have been reach out to enough people to get a viewpoint of where the area that I want to be, what's happening there. Right, like getting that viewpoint. I know university provides that structured version of understanding, but I would definitely reach out to people to build a viewpoint, at least some viewpoint, beyond just like what the university curriculum is offering. So that kind of gets me on like, what do I want to put more efforts in when I'm not in school time. I think that would be the absolute first thing I would do. Second would be I would chart that out in a plan. Real story. When I was at Thapar, I had befriended with many heads of departments
Okay.
with the understanding that they will give me keys to their labs, and then I can use the internet in the labs to do things. And one of those things I was doing back then was writing a scraper to download the resumes of everybody at MIT, CMU, and Stanford to really understand, like, in 4 years, what made these people get admission at these places? Where am I right now? And what's that gap that I need to like cross? So I was very thankful to like so many different labs who like would give me access to it. I also made I like, hey, you need help. You are head of math department. You need help. I give it to me. Just give it to me. You don't need to worry about it. Set up an entire computer lab with whatever setup I wanted, right? Like with Linux computers, and now those computers have password, which was my name. And someone told me recently that password had call my name and my friend named Gil. Call Gil. That password had been there for 10 years after leaving, because every time they upgraded the computers, they had that. But just that fact of like trying things, like give me an opportunity to do things, because I'll learn from that, and then you get free labor out of that, had been helpful for me back then. I actually do that now. I go to the senior director in my company. I said, hey, you need someone for free with no pay to do this GenAI work for fun for on the side. You got that person available. That's now my real job. But I made that, so I used to keep giving that offers to people where I would get experience in return, and I was having fun. So that part I would still continue in bigger and bigger ways. I heard you have a supercomputer here.
We do. Yeah, we have NVIDIA's farms are set up. Like we have servers properly. We've built a building.
I've heard from other universities how impressive it is. So if that's the opportunity one has available, as a student, I would go, hey, I know nothing about what the word GPU means, AI means, NVIDIA means, but give me an opportunity of something small that you want to do. Is there a professor who wants to do a research project? I'm available. I don't know what the PyTorch means. I'll learn it. I'm pretty sure that I'll if you give me an opportunity. I think making use of those opportunities, making those deals, also gives you a little bit of an entrepreneurial side of things, of the hustle culture that you need. So, and over time you start forming an understanding. The other thing would be actually utilize resources like YouTube, to understand like the latest that's happening, read newsletters on like what's the latest happening in the field. I think this particular field in computer science especially has moved really fast. Here's a trick. I tell this to people. Start hosting a series on AI by inviting people from outside.
Okay.
But be the host, build that connection network, and then start asking people internships and mentorships, right? Like it's a great opportunity to do that. So I think that these are like small examples I would still do. And I would pay special attention to GitHub.
Okay.
Which I somehow didn't learn as a student as much as I learned as a working professional. Or like, what are the? There are certain books like How to Code Clean, how to write a proper clean GitHub project that actually gets used, how to launch it on Product Hunt. Like those are like the skills. Or like, I think most people just put things on GitHub and nobody ever sees or cares. So you want people to care about it. The last advice I tell people is, if I open your resume, don't work on a project and put it on your resume. Actually, just take your resume, put the project you want to do on your resume, and then ask yourself, would you be proud to show people this? Would this then jump out of the seat if someone sees this project? If not, it's not ambitious enough. So maybe there is a middle project before getting to that ambitious project that will make people jump. Like have high standards, high goals, and I think that will follow very quickly.
I've definitely taken some points out of your book and learned from it a lot. So, thank you for being with us on Engineers Beyond Engineering, brought to you by ARC, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. We hope these stories inspire you to explore new directions and believe in your own unique path. Stay connected with us for more such conversations like these with Thapar alumni who are making a difference across the world. Until next time, keep moving forward and keep building beyond the boundaries.